the poor stable boy who became the king's most trusted man. Before today's story begins, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise from nothing while others, who have every advantage, never achieve greatness? What if I told you that one of the most trusted men in England once slept on a bed of straw, owned only one pair of shoes, and earned just enough money to buy a loaf of bread? This is not a story about luck. It is a story about honesty, a story about choices, and a story that proves one simple truth. Your character will always take you farther than your circumstances. So, make yourself comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's travel back to the rolling hills of Yorkshire, England, over 200 years ago. The year was 1812. The English countryside was beautiful. Wide green fields stretched across the hills. Stone cottages stood beside narrow roads. Sheep wandered peacefully through the valleys. Church bells echoed every Sunday morning. But behind the beauty, life was difficult, especially for the poor. In a small village called Ashford lived a 12-year-old boy named William Carter. William had no father. His father had died in a coal mine accident when William was only 4 years old. His mother worked as a housekeeper for wealthy families. She worked from sunrise until long after sunset. Even then, they often had very little food. Some nights, dinner was nothing more than warm soup and a piece of bread. Yet William never complained. His mother always told him, "Money can disappear overnight, but an honest heart stays with you forever." William never forgot those words. At 13, William left school. Like many poor boys in those days, he needed to work. He found a job at Lord Harrington's estate. His work was simple. He cleaned horse stables, carried water, swept the courtyard, fed the animals, and polished saddles until they shone like mirrors. The work was hard. His hands became rough. His back often ached. But William worked harder than anyone else. Most workers rushed through their duties. William never did. If a stable needed cleaning twice, he cleaned it twice. If a horse looked hungry, he fed it before anyone asked. If something was broken, he fixed it whenever he could. The older workers laughed. "You're working too hard. The Lord doesn't even know your name." William simply smiled. "My work knows my name." One cold winter morning, William discovered a leather wallet lying near the stable doors. Inside were several gold sovereigns, more money than he had ever seen. Enough to feed his mother for years. Enough to buy a small house. Enough to change his life forever. His hands trembled. No one had seen him. No one knew the wallet existed. For several long moments, William stood silently. He remembered his mother's words. "An honest heart stays with you forever." Without another thought, he carried the wallet directly to the estate office. The wallet belonged to Lord Harrington himself. The servants were astonished. Some whispered, "That boy is a fool." Others said, "I would have kept it." Lord Harrington looked carefully at William. "You opened it?" "Yes, sir." "And you saw the money?" "Yes, sir." "And yet you brought it back?" William nodded. "It was never mine." The old lord remained silent for a long time. Then he smiled. That simple smile changed William's life forever. Over the following months, Lord Harrington quietly watched the young stable boy. He noticed something unusual. William was always the first to arrive, always the last to leave. He never argued, never blamed others, never complained. He simply worked, day after day, week after week, month after month. Consistency became his greatest strength. One afternoon, Lord Harrington called William into his library. William had never entered such a magnificent room. Thousands of books lined the walls. A large fireplace warmed the room. The smell of old leather and polished wood filled the air. Lord Harrington handed William a book. "Can you read?" "A little, sir." "Would you like to learn more?" William's eyes widened. More than anything. From that evening onward, after finishing work in the stables, William spent 2 hours each night learning history, mathematics, writing, business, leadership. The Lord himself became his teacher. Years passed. William grew into a thoughtful young man. His knowledge expanded. But something else remained exactly the same. his humility. He still greeted every servant with respect, still thanked the cooks, still helped younger workers, still cleaned the stables whenever needed. Education had changed his mind, not his heart. At 22, Lord Harrington appointed William as estate manager. Some wealthy men protested. A stable boy cannot manage an estate. Lord Harrington calmly replied, "I trust character more than family names." William accepted the position with gratitude. He worked fairly, paid workers on time, improved farming methods, reduced waste, helped struggling families find work. Within 5 years, the estate became one of the most successful in Yorkshire. News spread throughout England. People wanted to know how one ordinary young man had transformed an entire estate. Many expected clever business secrets. Instead, William always gave the same answer: "I simply kept doing small things well." Several years later, William received an unexpected invitation. He was asked to meet one of the king's senior advisors in London. During the meeting, he was questioned for hours about leadership, about honesty, about difficult decisions, about people. Before leaving, the advisor asked one final question. If you discovered that your closest friend had stolen from the crown, what would you do? William answered without hesitation, "I would tell the truth." Even if it cost your friendship? Yes. Even if it cost your position? Yes. Why? William smiled gently. Because trust is harder to rebuild than success. Several months later, a royal letter arrived. William had been appointed as one of the king's financial advisors. Many noblemen were shocked. Some were jealous. Some refused to believe it. How could a former stable boy advise the king? The answer was simple. Kings needed trustworthy people, not merely wealthy ones. For the next 20 years, William served with honesty and wisdom. He rejected bribes. He protected public money. He listened before making decisions. He treated servants with the same respect he gave noblemen. People admired him not because he held power, but because power never changed him. One autumn evening, many years later, William returned to the village where he had been born. He visited his mother's small cottage. She was now old. Her hands trembled with age. William hugged her tightly. She looked at her son with tears in her eyes. "You've done well." William smiled. "I only followed your advice." What advice? He repeated the words she had spoken decades earlier. Money can disappear overnight, but an honest heart stays with you forever. She smiled. Then she whispered, "I always knew it would." Years later, after William passed away peacefully, people placed a simple stone outside the old stable where he had once worked. It did not mention his wealth. It did not mention his title. It did not mention the king. It simply read, "Here worked a boy whose honesty opened doors that money never could." Visitors still stopped to read those words, and many left inspired, not because William had become important, but because he had remained good. Moral of the story: your background does not decide your future. Your daily choices do. Talent may open a door. Education may build your skills. But honesty, kindness, humility, and consistency will keep those doors open for a lifetime. Never underestimate the power of doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Your character is your greatest strength. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. If this story inspired you or helped you practice your English listening skills, please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family.